For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
How the role in the philosophy and the movement of Pan-Africanism affected it?
Well, let's look at probably the most significant modern philosopher of Pan-Africanism, a student of Marcus Garvey and a student of Du Bois. We're speaking of Osagyefo Kwame Nkrumah, the former president of Ghana, and an author of note of Pan-African philosophy. Your question is how do his philosophy is, and if you read Class Struggles in Africa or the many, remember he's writing at the time of decolonization, when this is before the end of apartheid in South Africa, before the liberation of Mozambique that you spoke about. In fact, at that time, Ethiopia and Liberia were among the few, Morocco, countries that were not under the yoke of colonialism when Nkrumah and Ghana gained its independence. So at the time, there was the Casablanca group and the Monrovia group within Africa itself. So up until the early 1960s, Pan-Africanism's leadership came from the diaspora. I mentioned Henry Sylvester Williams, Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois, Marcus Garvey, all the way up until 1945. In 1945, the famous Manchester Congress takes place, the Fifth Pan-African Congress. Again, two Trinidadians in London play a key role, that is C.L.R. James and George Padmore. Padmore coming out of the communist movement with Stalin. In fact, imagine a brother coming across the Soviet Union, being chased by Stalin, being chased by Hitler through Germany by train, arriving in London, meeting his comrades there, and organizing with Nkrumah, with Amy Jack Garvey, with Nyerere, and many of the future leaders of Africa, the Fifth Pan-African Congress. This is why it is considered to be very historic, because out of that Congress came the future leaders, Jomo Kenyatta of Kenya, etc. So after the actual independence movement, the formation of the Organization of African Unity, it almost didn't happen because it was divided between the Monrovia group and the Casablanca group. The Monrovia group was more aligned to the West, to Western interests. A lot of the Francophone, those who speak French, those who were more aligned to France, went with that group. The Casablanca group was more radical and was actually led by His Imperial Majesty and by Ethiopia. And eventually they formed one, and that's where the Organization of African Unity was formed on May 25th, and African Liberation and Unity Day. So up until this day, the question of the politics and the direction of Africa is at issue with the current scramble for Africa that's taking place. Because even though you've given us a very good projection of economic growth in Ethiopia, there are forces who are attempting to divide Ethiopia according to different ethnicities within Ethiopia today. And that's not a secret. And we have to be able to, in order for us to truly liberate Africa and African people, we have to unite. And we have to understand who it is that is trying to divide us and why.
Yeah, definitely. So, Pan-Africanism, how would you compare it, as to the zeal and fire of over, a couple of decades ago, 4 decades ago to now, in terms of, the fire and the zeal?
Well, the fire and the zeal of the 1960s, because that's 4 decades ago, 1960s and 1970s, when you had people like Dudley Thompson, like Walter Rodney, like Michael Manley, like Kwame Ture on this side of the world, like Maurice Bishop. Their rhetoric and their militancy was exemplary. And they paved the way with black power and with the consciousness that was necessary to break not only the shackles of colonialism, but, as Brother Bob said, of mental slavery. Now that struggle isn't over. But they led it at the time, and they led it with a great deal of passion and militancy. So they set a key example. But when we look at the situation today, the intensity may not be any less. It's just that the means of expression have changed, and perhaps necessarily so. Why I say that? Many of the people whose names I called didn't die of natural causes. They were killed, or they were forced underground. And so what we are seeing today in the expressions of Pan-Africanism, whether it's in the Black Lives Matter movement in the United States, or it is in the movement of the Pan-Africanist Congress of Azania in South Africa, which is still calling for reforms along the lines that Mugabe has implemented in Zimbabwe, and at great cost to him and to the Zimbabwean people. Some say at great cost to democracy, but what kind of democracy? We are now faced with a situation where people thought that with Barack Obama as President of the United States, world conditions had changed. We were more favorable. I mean, Obama is the son of an African and a white American. But certainly under Mr. Obama's administration, we expected but did not see the benefit to Africa that
in
one
fact,
would have hoped for. In fact, what we saw was a decapitation.
Yes.
In the case of Libya.
Yes.
And the richest country in Africa, the most stable, decapitated, basically the state destroyed. And with that, the exodus of African people that you're seeing now going into the Mediterranean, so many of us drowning, going into Europe for third-class citizenship, looking for work. And, when you think about that, the fact that now Mr. Trump is the president-elect of the United States means that Pan-Africanism is more relevant than ever, but that the tactics of how we organize, how we unite, how we communicate have to be different if we are to survive and to succeed.
Yeah, because how we're going to get that in our heads now that with this emergence of this Trump era, I mean, we need to get it into our head now that, boy, is no more than ever. We should really look out for our affairs because they are looking out for their affairs. They are saying making America white or great again. I mean, Russia and America, although they have different ideological backgrounds, we know that them still have the same thing. They still believe in the same white racial superiorities. So, but how we're going to get in our head now that now is the time more than ever we need to sort out our affairs as black people.
And the only way we can do that, Brother Roger, the only way we could do that is through education. We have to educate our people. Now, I have to say Jamaica has been in the vanguard, I mean, at least in the English-speaking Caribbean, of that process through music and culture. And, I mean, Brother Mutabaruka is not here tonight, but his contribution is legendary, as are so many of the conscious artists of days gone by and even today from Jamaica. As you were speaking, I started thinking of Sizzler with No White God, and I think it's even in that. It's not so much that God is white or black or anything else, but that if we cannot see ourselves, the divinity in ourselves, then we're lost. We have to be able to see and recognize our inherent divinity, our value. This is what Marcus Garvey was teaching us. And once we can embrace that, once we can embrace each other, then they can't come and divide us. Anytime they come trying to set one of us against the other, they're barking up the wrong tree. But when we don't have that faith in ourselves, when we don't have that belief in ourselves, that confidence in ourselves, then we become susceptible to their tricks and their bribes and their machinations. We don't have to fall for that. We don't have to fall for that. That's paltry. We've been through that already. We did that already. Let's move forward now. We have an opportunity to do it. When Brother Marcus was here, they didn't have the internet. Now, Mr. Trump says, if these Africans think that they're going to give me a hard time, I'll just unplug the internet. Well, guess what? We have other means of communication. And we have to think in those terms. We have to think. Jamaica is also in the vanguard of the ICT innovation revolution of the Caribbean. You hear what I'm telling you?
Yeah, I need to
Jamaica
ask.
is in the vanguard of the ICT, and I know that because there's a group called CIVIC, the Caribbean Information and Communications Technology Virtual Community, where these innovations are constantly being discussed. Jamaica, Haiti, they're not in the media, but they are. They need the people who are listening now to this media need to know that there are a lot of important things taking place in communications technology in Jamaica, and we need to do even more of it. We need to support it because that is the means by which we can coordinate the Pan-African. Imagine if Garvey would have had access to the communications we have now. They wouldn't have been able to tie him up with the Black Star Line and accuse him of mail fraud and all kind of nonsense.
Exactly.
We have a lot more resources now that we didn't have before that we can use. Don't be afraid, people. Stop being afraid. You understand? And stop looking for some savior, some white savior to come and rescue us. They're not coming.
Not coming.
The cavalry is dead.
Yeah.
They killed Geronimo. They killed Cochise, all of them.
Yes.
Sitting Bull. It's now ourselves we have to rely on.
Right. Speaking
ourselves. Believe in ourselves. And Jamaica is in the vanguard. There's something happening now. I don't want to run out of time before I tell you this, brother, and tell your listeners this. You're listening to this, you say, okay, well, how do we get involved? I mean, apart from the organizations that are there in Jamaica, there is the global Pan-African movement. And it's going to be they're going to be having the 8th Pan-African Congress Part 2 in either June or August of 2017. In fact, we should hear any day now because the leaders of the movement have been discussing between the presidents of Tanzania, Namibia, and Cuba about co-hosting this Congress. Yeah. Now listen to this. They had invited us to the 8th Pan-African Congress Part 1 in Ghana in 2015. This is, when I say us, this is the Caribbean Pan-African Network. When we considered the invitation, we said we could not accept it, and the reason was because we did not have a chance to consult with our people, African people. Who are you going there to represent? Now, let me tell you, in 1994, I represented Trinidad and Tobago, and I was deputized by Dudley Thompson because I'm a Jamaican to be on the Jamaican delegation of the 7th Pan-African Congress. There was little consultation for this 8th Pan-African Congress, and they wanted, and they were having it on Ghana's Independence Day. And we're saying, listen, you're turning this thing into a pure talk shop. Unless we have an opportunity to talk with, to relate to the people what the issues are that we want raised, we can't participate. Well, we did send some comrades there who raised the issues, and they agreed for the first time to have a second part of this Pan-African Congress, which now this conversation that we're having on the radio is part of it, where we want to hear from you and from the people who are listening to the program and the call. And there is a what are the issues of concern, whether it's reparations, whether it's repatriation and how it takes place, whether it is how to stop the current scramble for Africa. Now, within this global Pan-African movement, there's also something now called the Pan-African Federalist Movement. Don't get lost, but don't let me lose you, please, audience. Now, the Pan-African Federalist Movement is coming out of Senegal, And what they're calling for is a united African state. Hear it. United African states. Which means that wherever Africans in the world want to vote and participate in African policy development, we can. In Jamaica, in Haiti, even in Trinidad and Tobago, if we have a referendum to vote on an issue with respect to issues, this is what the Pan-African Federalist Movement is advancing now. I am the regional initiative coordinator for the Caribbean for the Pan-African Federalist Movement. Mm-hmm. And in Jamaica, Brother Stephen Golding from the UNIA ACL, African Communities League, is the NIC, is the National Initiative Coordinator for Jamaica. So there, and how that is organized is that within each country there are also regions and at the community level activities or levels of organization. The intention is a type of democracy and a type of participation that is not what we see with the Electoral College in the United States.
Yeah.
We're talking about something genuine, something authentic, something African.
Mm-hmm. All right. Just to remind our listeners, we're speaking with Felipe Noguera, accomplished executive with extensive international experience, media, telecommunications, education, sports, and otherwise. And very resourceful person when it comes to IRFM and African and Pan-African issues. All right, we're wrapping up shortly, Felipe. What can you say about now the lessons that this generation of Pan-Africanists can pass on? You spoke about the current scramble of Africa and its impact and what it's doing to the black people and the African continent in particular. But this generation of Pan-Africanists, what can they do in terms of passing on to the coming generation and even posterity?
Well, that's the key thing. Never give up. Show the example of never surrender, never give up. Understand that the reason we have any gains at all is because our ancestors made sacrifices for us to be here. We have to make similar sacrifice. But the sacrifice is not just one of, yes, we can talk about Nani and the Maroons, we can go back to Tristan Louverture, it's not just the sacrifices of death, it's the sacrifices of life. It's the sacrifices of constantly striving to define our place in the world and not allowing other people to define it for us, particularly when they want to define it as second class, as subordinate. We are not subordinate. We are not second to anybody. We have to make sure that our children understand that they believe that, but that exercising that divinity requires effort, it requires work, it requires unity, supporting each other, not tearing each other down, not pulling each other down, not submitting to our lesser impulses of greed and corruption and selfishness and backbiting and pettiness and envy. Let's rise with truth, with righteousness in our hearts, with beauty in our character, with harmony in our homes, with order in our nation, and we will have peace on earth, and Africa will be free.
Definitely. So bridging the gap right now in terms of getting our race where it rightfully should be, equal footing in terms of economically, socially, scientifically, and so on is of even more paramount importance in this time.
Yes, brother. For sure. Of more paramount importance at this time. Don't lose sight of that. This is a different time than before. These are the times of the scriptures. Those of you who are religious, those of you who know your scriptures, who are spiritual, go to your scriptures. These are the times that are foretold. Know where you stand. Stand in unity. And stand for something. Don't be afraid. who God bless no man curse.
Yeah, man. All right, a pleasure speaking with you as usual. And thanks for
Yes, my
staying
brother.
up.
Anytime.
I know you're an hour ahead of us, so thanks for staying up with us.
Yeah, man.
All
Blessings
right.
to you and to the listeners and people of Jamaica. See you soon.
All right, man. Bless.
Peace and love.
Yeah, man. Peace.
Bless.
Felipe Noriega there. And, we're just reasoning about the current state of Pan-Africanism, and it's a serious thing. It's a serious topic that, we need to perpetuate amongst ourselves, especially now that when we see the other races, they are perpetuating their strength and their right in this earth. We hear the statement, make America white again or great again. Same difference. We see the Chinese strengthening even more in this time. They have strengthened so much that it's like they are the new king of the scrambling of Africa. The Indians likewise, they are perpetuating the strength of their race. We are the only people who are not doing so. And, we don't know, but we need to wake up. We have been in a slumber for the past 5 decades. We know that there's a dawning of a new day, but, we're still in the slumber. And we need to get...
Was Haiti. Simon Bolivar, who liberated South America. Anyone who knows the history knows it was Haiti that gave him the money outfitted him with ships to start the struggle. And the Haitians demanded only one thing of Bolivar. When you free Venezuela, when you free Colombia, when you free Argentina, when you free Peru, free the slaves. The only condition originally replied was Simon Bolivar. This is history. You can't hide the truth, and if you know your history, you look for history, you'll find it. You can imagine the threat that that Haiti imposed upon America since 1803. There was nothing that American imperialism, one other thing I must tell you. From this period, 1803, Haiti fought every major European power, the Americans, the French, the Spanish, the Germans, the Portuguese, all of them, trying to bring Haiti down, and not one of them could make Haiti renege on her democratic principles. On that country, there would never be on that territory a slave. Every man, every woman was free. You just make it to Haiti and you're free. No slavery. Everywhere else, there was slavery. Everywhere else. In the great America, they were, let's not talk about that. So anyway, you can imagine the threat that Haiti posed. American imperialism, all of its life, had only one objective, to bring those slaves back into the plantation. There was only one objective, bring those slaves back to the plantation. And America, France, all of them could not bring Haiti back to the plantation. Even after slavery was made illegal throughout the Western Hemisphere and was even abandoned, and Emancipation Proclamations are read everywhere, Haiti continued to be the guiding inspiration for Africans throughout the Western Hemisphere. It was not until 1915 that American imperialism could put the heels of the Marines on Haiti. They installed Papa Doc, a scum of our race, one who would bow down to the wishes of imperialism and rape his people without the slightest mercy. And since then, that's where Haiti has been, and that's where it is to this day. And it's certainly not Bill Clinton who is going to liberate it, just the masses of Africans.
Europa. She is the research officer, acting director at Liberty Hall, and we will be talking about the opening of the Marcus Garvey Multimedia Museum. Good night.
Yes, hi, good night. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, great to have you. Yes, so the opening of Marcus Garvey Multimedia Museum, you want to provide an overview for us?
Okay, so this is the opening of the redesigned museum. The original museum opened in 2005, dedicated to the philosophy, life, and opinions of Marcus Garvey, as well as the work of the UNIA and his overall legacy and impact in the world. It's the only multimedia museum of its kind when it opened, right? We recently got funding for upgrade to put in face morphing technology, floor-to-ceiling graphics, new touch screens, along with funding to put in 2 new exhibitions, permanent exhibitions to accompany the exhibition on Marcus Garvey that is on Africa and self-identity. So what we're doing is actually opening this redesigned museum to the public officially. On Saturday, there's a free opening from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. It's open to the public, and we're inviting everyone to come and interact with the new material, to see the museum, and to learn more about our work at Liberty Hall, the legacy of Marcus Garvey.
Yeah, you want to tell us, you can't tell us everything off the top of your head, but what can we expect in this multimedia, especially this redesign?
So our work in the museum is really in response to a lot of the things that a lot of the experiences we've had with children and adults coming into the museum. So the main permanent exhibition is on the life of Marcus Garvey. We have audio, for example, of the UNIA anthem. We have audio of Marcus Garvey speaking, as well as major scholars in the field, Garveyites, right, as well. We have a Garveyites wall where we included images and images, quotes, and, basic biographical information on Garveyites. Currently, we have mostly Jamaicans and some in the United States, but over time, we're going to continue to build it almost like, an encyclopedia. We have two exhibitions, one on Africa and one on self-identity. The exhibition on Africa is actually in response to the fact that we get a lot of children coming into the museum who their image of Africa is shaped by the media's image of Africa. So they think of starving children, war, animals, and they really don't have a sense of the legacy of, the fact that the world mankind begins in Africa, and that some of, the wealthiest man in the world is from Africa, and that Africa, the continent with all its countries and regions, has a long and powerful history that really, transcends that from of Europe and the Western world. And so what we have begun with our Touchscreen Africa exhibition is to change or provide alternate images of Africa, as well as to begin to introduce children to history, African continent, independence dates, and so on and so forth, because of course Africa is not necessarily centrally taught in the school system. The second exhibition on self-identity provides a person's personal account with race and colorism in Jamaica and how that has impacted them. We have about 10 interviews there. We're hoping in the future to expand the interviews that we have, and each person speaks about their experience, and then, it's an interactive material. So when you say, how do I think you think I felt, you choose whether, sad, angry, or, embarrassed, and, that person responds to each one. There's no right answer, because anybody can have any possible response to an experience that, downgrades or dismisses their humanity on the basis of their race, and so on. So, and then we end with what would Garvey say. So with each exhibition, really and truly, you could come in and spend time only on Africa, only on self-identity, or only on Garvey, and really keep interacting with the philosophy of Marcus Garvey and his opinion that continue to be relevant in Jamaican society today and in the world over.
Yeah, you spoke about the the work of Liberty Hall. Just refreshing us our memories as to the role and the work you do there at Liberty Hall. At Liberty Hall.
Okay, so Liberty Hall was originally started by the group that we refer to as Friends of Liberty Hall, which is a group of Jamaicans who are committed to the life and legacy of Marcus Garvey, as well as a heritage site, because Liberty Hall is a heritage site, a national monument rather, because it's the site of the Kingston UNIA. All our work is geared towards improving the quality of life of the community. So we're responding to the needs of the community. So we provide adult literacy computer class very low costing. So we provide a certificate after 18 weeks. It's for adults and senior citizens. We provide an after-school program for the children living in the community. They come in, they get a space to do their homework. We also help them with literacy. We provide a summer arts program each summer for about a month to 4 to 6 weeks, where we expose children to various arts. We actually bring in teachers from Ethnam Academy. And we, if you get a chance to come to Liberty Hall, we have mosaics on the wall that have been done by children over the years. And last year we did a mural on the backside of Liberty Hall, which is on Love Lane. That was our 2015 project. In addition, we have the Multimedia Museum, which is our main attraction. So we get, hundreds and thousands of school children throughout the year coming to learn about the life and legacy. And we get a wide range of children. We get children as young as 3 years old coming, early childhood educators are bringing children to the museum, especially now that it's been redesigned and it's colorful and there's a high element of interactiveness there in the space.
Yeah. And what are your opening hours? I mean, because you say after school and so on, so it look like you start early and go late.
No, man. Well, we try to do as much as possible within, our regulated hours. The museum is open Monday to Thursdays from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And then on Fridays it's open from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. However, we also have a reference and research library with about 10,000 books, all geared towards Garveyism, Africa, Black nationalism, Black religion, everything Black and powerful. And that's open from 9 to 4. So once you come in and you say you want to come and see the reference library and use the library, we cater to a lot of students doing CXC and so on, and at the tertiary level. But really and truly, we're really trying to create a space where people are able to get in touch with their history and facilitate for the positive empowerment.
Yes, and we know from time to time you might have some cultural activities and so on.
Yes, we do. We have our annual Garvey lecture. We hold that every August 17 on his birthday. We have a lecture where the museum is open to the public and free for the day. We also tend to invite persons from the community to come on the compound and sell, and we have music and so on and so forth. We also have another program that's called Sankofa. We host that program in either February or March. And what we try to do is diasporic connections. So we bring in student teachers, and we actually do video conferencing with other students from the diaspora to have a kind of dialogue about the issues that face us. So the last one was on self-identity, and we recognized we had students from Barbados and students from Chicago speaking with students in Jamaica, and we really recognized that we are battling with the same issues, but a lot of the times the context on the ground ultimately forces us to determine what is important, what is more important, and a lot of times race, especially for those of us living in Black majority countries where we have our own Black elected leaders, race sometimes gets pushed to the side. Exactly. And we're really facilitating these kinds of discussions at Liberty Hall.
All right, so in closing, let us speak again quickly about the opening of this multimedia museum and the free public viewing.
It's free. Please come on Saturday, November 19th. Mm-hmm. Parking is available. That was one of the funding. When we got funding, we were able to create a parking space.
And where is that? Where's the parking?
Yeah, we have parking on the grounds of Liberty Hall. We actually were able to, we expanded by demolishing the building next door. And so now there's parking.
The old Joyce building, this, huh?
No, man, the Oddfellows Hall.
Oh, so...
the lodge building that was sold.
Oh, so you have parking over there, so no?
We have parking. Okay. You drive in through the gate. You veer left. There is ample space. So people just can come between 10 and 3. It's free to the public. Yes. We do have a gift shop. So if you want to make a contribution by purchasing something in the gift shop, we will appreciate it. Yes. Because, of course, we rely on these contributions. However, please come. It's free to the public. We'll have tour guides available. We have a tour guide available. However, if you want to bring a group, we're asking that you call us first at 948-8639, 948-8639, or 948-8640. And that way we can make provisions. We can prepare to accommodate you.
Right.
But please be free. We look forward to having you. I mean, it's very important for all of us to come and, learn more about our first national hero and kind of think critically about the ways in which his philosophy is still applicable to our daily life.
Exactly. Yeah, man. All right, a pleasure speaking with you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, great to have you.
And we hope to see you soon as well.
Yeah, man, definitely. I'll be in Kingston on the weekend.
Okay, great.
All right.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right, Shanae Roper there. She is a research officer and acting director at Liberty Hall. And it's in regards to the opening of the Marcus Garvey Multimedia Museum at Liberty Hall, downtown, King Street, just the top side parade, yeah. I remember the days when I usually go down Liberty Hall, but those are the days when I usually have to fight for go over Liberty Hall because, one time I had some whole bus and it long for a while. And I remember the days when we as young poets wanted a cultural space. I remember the fight and the struggles that we had to get over the old Liberty Hall. I remember that caretaker that was down there. But I tell you, man, those were the days, dub traffickers days. And in fact, we were the first set of people who started to resuscitate Liberty Hall. We remember we keep around 2 Black History Showcase over there in the early 90s. I can't remember, maybe around 95, 96, them time the Liberty Hall lock up and run down, but we determined as young revolutionaries to go over there. And we had run-ins with the caretaker and them time the way I feel talk to Zeeks and Tony Lang and them people at downtown, and we managed to keep something over there. Them time, it is nowhere near where it is now. The same Liberty Hall there. Yeah, nowhere near. We kept something over there, and I think when people realized that something could have keep, I think that was where the whole revolution started from the Liberty Hall. We invited people like Barish Evans down there, and those were the days. We carried sound system over there. Black History Showcase, poetry and cultural showcase and celebration over the whole rundown building, and you see Liberty Hall now. We're glad for that. We're glad to play our role in resuscitating that historic building. We also know that the bar across the road from Liberty Hall. We hear say Marcus Garvey is over there usually drink and eat and, socialize, after a hard day's work, over Liberty Hall. So, even the bar across the road is historic. Yeah, man, so the Multimedia Museum, Marcus Garvey Multimedia Museum, opening this free public viewing on Saturday. Make sure on a day and make sure, go there with a open mind and learn about Africa, and yourself, and, the role and the philosophies and opinions of Marcus Garvey.
This is Charles. Join us with respect for our national anthem. Let us stand and defend this one. Peace and love. Thank you. Eternal Father, bless our land. Guide us with thy mighty hand. Keep us free from evil powers. Do our life through countless hours. To our leaders, great defenders, great true wisdom from above. Justice. Truth. Be ours forever. Jamaica, land we love. Jamaica,
All right, this is the Cutting Edge. Yeah, man, November 17 now. Yeah, Thursday, November 17 in the year 2016, the final month of the second to last month of 2016 as we're rolling out, the closing out the 11th month of the new year. We should have a chat shortly with Kush Ryan Morrison about the Rasta Roots Festival. We soon link him. We're going to have a little overview on that. And I'm certain, this is something that, a lot of us are all interested in. And we just hope that the man them get them exemption. As you know, what has been happening in recent times. All right, before we talk to Kush, we see racial tensions, racial tensions again rising up in South Africa. And it's in regards to, some two South African farmers, they were dragged in court today for shoving a black man into a coffin. And they appeared in court on assault charges after an online video emerged showing them pushing a black man into a coffin and threatening to burn him alive. William Uthensen and Theo Martin Jackson, both 28, were remanded in custody after their lawyer decided not to apply for bail. The men face charges of kidnapping and assaulting 27-year-old Victor Molchwa over an incident that occurred in August at a farm near the town of Middelburg in the eastern province of Mpumalanga. They were arrested on Monday after the video, apparently shot on a mobile phone by one of the two white men involved, went viral last week. The 20-second clip shows one of the assailants shoving a black man clearly in distress into the wooden coffin and trying to force down the lid. They are also accused of threatening to put a snake in the coffin. Yeah. So them two white men in court right now. There were large demonstrations in South Africa today, especially near the court. And we see where the economic freedom fighters, opposition party and the ruling African National Congress, they held rallies outside the court to protest at the alleged assault and racism that continues to exist in South Africa, despite what they would call in the breaking down of the apartheid regime over 20 odd years ago. So the country remains 85 to 90% black, and it's still ruled by the 8% whites in South Africa. And recent controversies have erupted regularly on social media in recent years in South Africa. Still deep-rooted inequality 22 years after the end of white minority apartheid rule. But guess what? The whites still rule. They still call the shots in that society. Black people, they might have political power, but they don't have the economic power. Hence, the deep-rooted racism still exists in that South African society. Many people were upset that Mandela they just wiped them out, but him couldn't do it, according to him. And we talk about wipe out, meaning that wipe out this whole impression that the white people had in South Africa. He decided was to go equal, and that is why a lot of people still have him up, because they thought that, it should have been swung right around into the indigenous people's favor at the end of white rule. But it never happened. So here we are still. Racial relations and problems still exist in South Africa. So I gather that the two white men who were forcing the man into the coffin, they are heading for another court hearing on January 25. So they are remanded without bail. The lawyer apparently never applied for bail for them. So I don't know how that one guy work out, But we'll see how it go. All right. Back in the U.S. again, we see where a petition calling on the Electoral College to make Hillary Clinton president surpasses 2.2 million signatures. So there is a petition now out. They say they're trying to reach 3 million feet happen. And this follows Clinton's crushing defeat in her race for the White House. Upset Americans are urging the Electoral College to elect the former Secretary of State as president when they meet in December, because, they still have to meet to ratify the president-elect. So a Change.org petition launched this week is asking the special group of electors to make Clinton the nation's next commander-in-chief. The former First Lady lost the presidential election in a historic upset by reality star turned politician Donald Trump. And we still sometimes we still have to laugh, because initially we all thought that it was a joke, and then we saw where the joke was getting very far. Then the joke reached real far, and the joke gets serious now. Them still argue that him don't have any political experience around the country. So the petition now has reached 2,590,789,000 signatures from supporters. This petition calling for the Electoral College to make Hillary Clinton the president. Now, the Electoral College is scheduled to cast their ballots for president on December 19, and it would give Clinton another chance to win the presidency. So we see how that one go. Electors have the choice of either voting the way their states did in favor of Trump, or they can write in their vote for Clinton. On election day, Clinton won the popular vote by a margin of 595,000 votes over Trump. That's almost 400,000 votes over Trump. But because the Electoral College is directly responsible for electing the president, the former real estate tycoon was able to snag a spot in the White House. And we see here where critics of the electoral process have long spoken out about the flawed system, arguing that the special group of electors only favor states that lack diversity. And the petition continues to gather steam. It circulates among celebrities and other influencers on social media. Petition organizers are hoping to reach 3 million signatures. So far, they reached over 2.5 million. So we see how that one go. All right, so we're flying the lines now, so you can call us here at the cutting edge, give us, we know you have your say. So now is the time to call us on the cutting edge here on IRA FM. Let us have a little reasoning. This is the Black Conscious, African Conscious program, cutting edge, Mutabaruka set it. So we're there. I just go and hold the fort for the general until him come in. So, give us a call, no? Yeah, man, we're there. We're there keeping you company on the cutting edge until 2 o'clock. Greetings. Hello?
Yeah, how you doing? Yeah, man.
Good, What going? Talk to me.
I call from the Middle East, my GT and them know me. Well, so because I call and make something clear for really. My name Junior. Over 1 million vote, the popular vote gone to Clinton now.
It passed 1 million now?
Yeah, man, you can look up on here, man.
Okay, yeah. Well, this I think this was this thing that I had was printed from about day before yesterday.
Yeah, man. So because I called make you know that here. So I can big up some places now. I come from a client and
yeah. Well,
and I just big up the people that in a client and don't already is Redland and them thing there. Brian Zero, Jigsaw, Cook D'Ivoire, all them place there.
Where that near to?
From the Middle East. Yeah?
Where that near to? Give me like a reference point. Which
don't apply in any there's a near to Chapitan, between Chapitan and Cook D'Ivoire.
Oh, you know reach Frankfield. Reach Frankfield.
Yeah, man, it's Frankfield, man, but yeah, man, most of the people in my area from know who names, man. GT, Bones and them, man, there. And Matrix and Elise.
So tell me something.
Tell me something. GT are there on the phone.
So tell me something. Enough people listen to IRFM down that side, eh?
Wait, me I call from my part, me come from Jamaica.
Yeah, man, we are talking around other side where you just call some name, man.
Yeah, man, enough people will down there, man.
I hear them listen.
But yeah, man.
Okay.
But yeah, man. But like I said, part me there right now down in the Middle East, but the DC me live, you know.
Oh, you just have to big up some people down there, so. Oh.
Yeah, man. Obama work for man, but them thing they GP no things yet, man. Everybody knows.
Hey, when this is a Trump, how come wipe out everything Obama do, man?
He might go be my next boss, but I don't know about that stuff. Because the thing is, dude, when you campaign and when you govern is different, you know.
Yeah.
It's a different thing when you govern, man, when you campaign. You can't say anything when you campaign, but when you govern, a different thing.
Okay. Yeah, true.
But yeah, man, so you know, people are staff with me, at least Sunshine, I'm born and people, GT, just want your family, they want answer the phone in time to call.
Yeah, man. All right, sir.
I'm big up. When Muta come back?
Muta, I come back next week, man.
Okay,
all right, sir. Anytime you hear me, I just sit in film for a little while to them forward.
Me know, man. You go on good stuff, man.
Thanks, man. All right, bless.
All right.
All right, cutting edge here on IRFM. First come, first serve. Hello, greetings.
Yes, Roger, Mandingo.
What a go on?
Yeah, greetings. Everything good, man. This Thursday morning, the 17th of November 2016. And I just want to yell up all who grew up with us friends on St. John's Road, Spanish Town, Joe Blaine, Red Pan, and who used to go to Friendship Government School with me, you know. Fairfield Road, that my father was the headmaster and no matter the deputy head. And also my schools like Campion College and Kingston Technical and friends them Eva and others bigger in Central Kingston, Brethren Raymond in Dunkirk and family and friends all over Jamaica and outside of Jamaica.
Yeah.
Marcia in the States and everything. And big up Hopeton Lindo and Levi Sybils, Eptones.
Yeah,
and Anza Collins.
Original
you know,
man.
Yeah, man, you know, every time. And twin brothers them in Birmingham who are always listening to the show, etc. And Ras Jadon. Now, item of news is that the new High Commissioner has been announced for the UK, where them call UK Britain, and he is known as Seth SETH George Ramokan. I've never heard of him before, but Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, announced the appointment of Seth George Ramokan as the High Commissioner designate for Jamaica to Britain. And he's expected to assume duties in London in early December 2016. So this is just to let people know what is going on that front.
Okay.
But this is a person I've never heard of him before.
Yeah.
Still, but I'll keep you posted. And you know, when I say you and others.
Yeah, man.
And talking about Tanzania, South Africa.
Right.
That you were mentioning. The thing about it, what people need to know is that nothing changed when Mandela became president. Because, as you correctly said, the European settlers still own and control the economy of South Africa. They still own and control 90% of the land, about 90% of the land. Nothing has changed where that is concerned. And as a matter of fact, the Pan-Africanist Congress of Tanzania came about because the youth wing of the African National Congress, most of them broke away from as long ago as 1955, when the program of action, which was instituted in 1949 by the African National Congress, the program of action in 1949, was substituted by a so-called Freedom Charter written by Europeans in South Africa, these same, as communists, etc., which was adopted in 1955. And what they said is that South Africa no longer belongs to us as Africans in South Africa, but it also belongs to the Europeans and Indians and others in South Africa, which could never be. So this was to deny our people our land in South Africa, saying South Africa now also belongs to Europeans and Indians and other groups.
To wipe out the dignity. Wipe out the dignity.
Yes, it's our land. Yes, yeah. And that is why I've never supported Nelson Mandela and those in the ANC, because they went along with that sellout on the question of land. That the land no longer belongs to our people, but belongs to others also, to the invaders. And Mangolisa Sobukwe was elected as the first president of the Pan-Africanist Congress of Azania, of South Africa, with Lebalo as the Secretary General. And the Sharpeville massacre that we know about on the 21st of March 1960, it was organized by the PAC. And what a lot of people do not know against the past laws is that the first set of prisoners to go on Robben Island, and who served also the longest time on Robben Island, was not Nelson Mandela, but it was PAC prisoners of war who were first imprisoned and spent longer in captivity than Nelson Mandela. But Nelson Mandela, because he did a deal while he was in prison on Robben Island, and by the way, most of the time, for a substantial period of the time, Nelson Mandela was moved from Robben Island and was living in a villa. A lot of people don't know this, while the deal was being worked out. Yes. These things have been hidden from a lot of our people. And this is why, when I told Mark Garvey Jr. about this was years ago, this was why he supported the PAC and not the ANC, because they had sold out on the land question. And we see what happened with the Marikana miners, and Roger, who were shot down, about 30 of them, by the same ANC regime on behalf of a racist European mining company.
Yeah, but speaking about the ANC,
for demonstrating for the rights.
Speaking about the ANC, it look like them losing grip based off our way right now, because precisely this was why in the recent elections that went on, they lost Johannesburg and two other key cities in South Africa in terms of the local elections and so on. And this is why Malema, who was a youth member of the ANC, he broke away and founded a few years ago the EFF to fight for economic independence and so on. Because increasingly African people in South Africa have found out that nothing has changed. As a matter of fact, things have gotten worse for African people in South Africa under the sellout regime of Nelson Mandela and others. Yeah,
this is the reality. We have to, as my mother would say, we have to call a spade, and doing pretty up things. It's similar to what is happening in the States. People are talking about Hillary Clinton and George Trump. There is no difference, except cosmetic. What happened with Donald Trump is that he's an out-and-out racist. He tells you to your face.
He tell you straight.
While Hillary pretends not to be racist. Which is even more dangerous. And what people should realize is that Hillary Clinton, supporting her husband Bill Clinton, is responsible for thousands of African fathers and grandfathers doing life imprisonment in the States under the bill that Clinton brought in as president of 3 strikes and you're out. So commit 3 so-called offenses and you're in prison for the rest of your life, which has destroyed a lot of African families. And the same Hillary Clinton has referred to our African youths in the States as super predators.
Right, yes, true. True.
So there's no difference, as Malcolm X said. There's no difference between a Democrat
and a Republican.
Or a Republican.
No
it
difference.
is true.
Yeah.
The only solution for African people, whether in Jamaica, in the States, in South Africa, Canada, Britain, is self-reliance. We have to see about our own interests, and the only way we can see about that is having our own exclusive African organization to see about our interests.
Can remember, Mandingo,
to with our progress, because every other race of people does that. Yes, my brother.
Yeah, remember Marcus Garvey never have no problem with the Ku Klux Klan, in terms of what they were about and what he was about.
No, but listen, not just it. Everybody knew what the Ku Klux Klan was about.
Right.
It was the Ku Klux Klan who actually murdered Malcolm X, his father, who was a Garveyite, and his mother was a Garveyite. So what Marcus Garvey did, which has been misinterpreted by people, was that he had talks with the Ku Klux Klan to tell them to stop attacking African people.
Right.
This was not an alliance or anything. It was a thing because, more time in war, you have times when enemies meet to have talks.
Have a truce and so on,
Yes, exactly. You have meetings, like in any war situation, there are times in every race, in every group, and within races.
Yes.
Whenever you have different camps at war, there are certain times when you have talks between enemies.
Right.
So Marcus Garvey and the Ku Klux Klan talking was Marcus Garvey telling them that they must desist from attacking African people because we would defend ourselves. Because remember that Marcus Garvey's organization, the UNIA and ACL, because that's the name of the organization, not UNIA. It's UNIA and ACL.
African Communities
League. Standing for Africans. African Communities League. So it's our association of Africans.
Right.
Is that we had a military wing in it known as the African Legion, which was our military arm to defend our people. No Martin Luther King turned the other cheek thing. It was a defensive organization to defend our people. And Elijah Muhammad, who was a member of Marcus Garvey's organization, his security organization called the Fruit of Islam is modeled off Marcus Garvey's African Legion, which is the military arm of the UNIA and ACL, which was formed as the embryonic African military arm to defend our people worldwide. Because let us remember that the UNIA and ACL is a government for African people in exile, and Marcus Garvey was not the president of Africa, but he was elected the provisional president of Africa, because it was the idea that we must establish in Africa a super state with one president, one army, one navy, and one air force to defend Africans worldwide and to advance the progress of our people.
Right.
In all areas of life.
Yeah.
Economically, politically,
scientifically,
spiritually, and otherwise.
Scientifically, yeah. All right, Mandingo, we'll take a break, so if you want, you can hold on.
Yeah. All right, I'll hold on, my brother.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, Cutting Edge on IRA FM.
Yes,
Mandingo.
my brother.
Yeah.
Yes, my brother.
Yeah, man.
Brother, yes, as a matter of fact, the motto of the Pan-Africanist Congress of Azania, which was founded on the 6th of April 1959, as I said, by Mangaliso Sobukwe, is Izwe Letu Africa, meaning that Africa belongs to us, Africans.
Yes.
Izwe Letu Africa. And it is still in action, because I work with them, because we work together as Africans, that group from the PAC. And of course, they have an alliance with the EFF of Malema, who again was a member of the ANC a few years ago. And because he supports President Mugabe, about the land question, the same land question again. Because in Zimbabwe, our people were not fighting to vote as the people were misled to fight for in South Africa. They fought for their land, our land.
Fight back to get back them land.
What is vote? If you do own and control your land, you own and control nothing, because land is the basis of power.
So they fight, that's why they're fighting until this day, and that's why they continue to ridicule Mugabe, because I mean, they have this despot as this evil being.
No, but the only people who have Mugabe as a despot and so are the racist liars and the traitors who work for them, because Mugabe is the only brave and intelligent African head of state in the world for years now who is standing up to the racist imperialism of the Europeans. And because he refuses to bow and to be overthrown by them, this is why it's constant, non-stop propaganda against them.
Yeah, man,
and let us remember that both Democrats and Republicans wage war against President Mugabe.
Yes.
George Walker Bush instituted ZIDERA, Z-I-D-E-R-A, which are racist economic sanctions designed to pressure the people of Zimbabwe so much that they would rise up to overthrow President Mugabe, putting pressure on the people. You remember what used to happen in Jamaica in the 70s at a certain time, and the sanctions against Cuba, using economic sanctions as a weapon to pressure our people?
Yes. Can't forget that.
You see? Exactly. It's the same type of tactics. But you see, President Mugabe is coming from the school of Kwame Nkrumah from Ghana, because his first wife was Ghanaian and he studied in Ghana and taught there too. And of course, Kwame Nkrumah's teacher was Marcus Messiah Garvey, because Kwame Nkrumah in his autobiography said that of all the literature, of all the books that he read, the one that inspired him the most was the philosophy and opinions of Marcus Messiah Garvey.
Yes.
Showing you that it is Marcus Garvey's Black Print solution that we as African people must follow. And these statistics, Brother Roger, talking about our people in the States, are important. The USA has only 5% of the world's population. Only 5%. Yet it has 2.3 million prisoners, making it the country in the world that has the most prisoners, more than any other country, more than China, more than Cuba, more than any other country. Yet they call themselves the so-called land of the free.
Yes.
And of the 2.3 million prisoners in the USA, 1 in 4 are 90% of the 2.3 million prisoners in the USA are our people, African people. That means 9 out of 10 of the prisoners in the States as captives are our African people. And this has occurred under both Democrats
and Republicans. Right.
And 1 in 4 prisoners in the world are in the U.S. And as I said, 90% of the 2.3 million prisoners in the USA are our African people, meaning 9 out of 10. It shows you the racism. And you know, even with so-called drugs, they gave light sentences from the time of Clinton and before to those who had cocaine, because cocaine mostly used by the Europeans in the States, while those who had used crack, which is mostly our people, they got much longer sentences. So you see what is happening, and the prisons in the States are used as a source of cheap labor for companies to make their goods cheaply. So it's a whole industry. It's enslavement again in a different form.
Modern day slavery.
This is why they are pushing homosexuality so much too, because one of the ways of keeping down the population of the African race is not only birth control, but also when you put most of our men in prisons, you know that our birth rate must go down, you know, because for our population to expand, you have to have man and woman together, right? So with more and more of our men in prisons, that is decreasing the amount of Africans being born to come into the world. And another thing too that they use is that Planned Parenthood, which was founded by that racist Margaret Sanger, who had a plan of genocide, eugenics, to keep down our population. And she's the one who came with the phrase of birth control. Was designed for our people, and most of these so-called Planned Parenthood things are situated in the neighborhoods of our African people in the United States.
Yes, so we need to realize that all of the evil designs and experiments is the aim of. When we're gonna wake up and realize that all of these things,
we are the targets. No, we are the target. We are going to realize, because you and I realize, and with what I am saying and what you are doing, what we are making our people who are not aware of what is going on is to be aware, because nothing can be done if enough of our people are not aware of the problems that we face. Because if you do not know the problems that you face, then you are in no position to formulate solutions.
Yeah, man. So you have to know the medium where you have, the medium where you have, and the resources where you have. You have to use it to try educate and try.
Precisely.
You know, because
which what you are doing here in providing this platform
and reach where you can reach. But give thanks still.
Be aware.
Yeah, man.
Because you cannot solve your problem if you don't know what your problem is.
Yeah, man, a true, man. But give thanks to Mandingo.
And we feel, yeah, man, I remember our African people worldwide, we face a war on all fronts.
Yeah.
And I'll leave you with this, my African people.
Yeah.
Never be ashamed to say that you're an African. This thing about calling yourself black or so-called Afro-descent Caribbean, it is designed to destroy your African identity. You notice right there in Jamaica, Indians are proud to be called Indians. Chinese are proud to be called Chinese. Europeans are proud to be called Europeans, even though they were born in Jamaica, because your race has nothing to do with where you were born.
Right.
It is only people who are ashamed of their identity as Africans, who bleach themselves and who call themselves every other name except being African. To say that you are black, that is merely a color, and there is no such thing as a black or a white person. Look at the color black and look at the color white and get wise. And another stupid phrase that people use is about people of color. That's a ridiculous thing. Everyone has some color. So get rid of it. Be proud to say that you are an African. I, Mandingo, for example. You, Roger.
Yes.
We are Africans from Jamaica. We were born in Jamaica. That's where we were born. But our race, we are African.
Originated
like
on the African continent.
Are proud to be Indians.
Yes.
They don't speak any Indian, Chinese, they don't speak any Chinese, but they know what race they are and they are proud of it. So, African people, get wise. Love yourself, as Marcus Garvey said. Be proud and fight for your rights and work and implement Marcus Garvey's Black Print solution by reading and putting into practice what he taught us in the philosophy and opinions of Marcus Garvey, and in his other book, The Course of African Philosophy, with 22 secret lessons that he gave to his most trusted and younger followers in the 1930s in Canada. So keep on doing the good work,
man.
My brother.
Black power, man. Black power. Black power.
African power.
Straight.
African power.
African power. Bless.
African power.
Bless. Mandingo.
For these
Greetings.
Yes, Roger.
Okay.
Yeah, man. I'm in here to say it's a King guy, you know? Hello?
Talk no, man.
Yeah, man. Me, you know, my brother today, the 17th of November. And my brother birthday today, you know? And in the funny ship where Jam Rock ship is supposed to come and hold it tomorrow, you know? So me, I big him up, you know? Time birthday today, you know? They remember they my brother, you know? I want to big up My baby mother Lisa and Muta mother, she look magnificent, Raja, Yeah, man, big up Lisa and my baby mother same way. One love, Why she really magnificent. But Raja, Jamaica bless you, man. As me I say, the flag mean the black, gold and green. It's like the black of the lad and the green of the green lizard, and the gold of my royalty, I mean, I say the artists them in Jamaica love Jah, because Jah live. Like our Tamili. You see Tamili, give me and Tamili, because you know to me it's sick, I live in me. The whole Tamili all about, I just chew me, make them breathe, All Vice Cartel, me I say, the green lizard living on one idea, rather me a ball out na me, And when we see Vice Cartel kill the youth near lizard, me I say, oh, me have to really conquer is why I want to live a Vice Cartel, because if a Vice Cartel would be alive right now, just like Tamil Lee and them man, I artist to save Jah, man. So how we can talk to see a Vice Cartel and get him out of jail, brother?
Bless.
Blessed.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, give thanks for the program,
Yeah, man, give thanks.
Yeah, man. You see, sometimes some people mind lock up in and their mind want to be free,
Right.
I just hear the bridge in there a while ago. He come like he want his mind to be free.
Yeah, man.
Because he might call a try to see someone in incarceration to be free, and it seems like he have a total problem.
So I go on now.
Yeah, me give thanks to the strength. Me give thanks.
Yeah.
You see, African people are wake up,
Yeah, slowly but surely, Sometimes it feels a little bit too slow, but, Yeah.
It's just like a baby, You creep and you walk until you run.
Yeah. I mean, we have been messed up so bad over the past 5 centuries that the mental state, the mental state is in a terrible state that even up to this day, we are where we are now. See, we there a fight over America and for them policies. And, we just are totally make it look like, say, we don't have an existence of our own, we don't have a history, we don't have we don't have nothing for ourselves.
If we go on with we as a people still, the curriculum we handed to we from we in our basic stage from youth. It's wrong. It grow against our own self. That, we're all talking and everybody saying different things. We want the voice going to one, and it really hard. It hard.
Yeah, man, we in a state of disorganization, man, boy. It's terrible.
Even terrible. House, you just find a different house, and everybody saying different thing, and they want to refer to one thing, but everybody saying different stuff. And for me, being a Rastafari, Rasta. And it's not just your locks. All of us are Rastafari, but not until you find that Rasta within you. Because I are Rasta, and I respect the eye. It's not, your locks on your head. Because, people grow locks and they don't know what is the significance of the locks on the head.
True.
Yeah. So, even the eye, I respect the eye. I see the eye as a star, And the way I observe the eye shine, the eye light, and a lot of people I see the eye as how me I see the eye. I'm not visually, physically see,
What have to do, What have to do with the little short time we have here, a past.
Definitely.
If it's communication, job put for do thing, a communication we are doing thing through. You understand?
Yeah. Naturally, because I feel you, and I feel the energy of the positive people whenever they wave across, because we are connect through that levels, spiritually.
Yeah, man. That's true,
man. And we feel each other like that. We are energy, and but some of us energy are very low, and some of us energy are very high.
Yeah, man.
That is why sometimes when you come across people with the energy is very low,
it's like you cannot really help them. You want to help them, and you know, you're giving them the water to drink, and sometimes to where they're thirsty, they just throw it away.
Right. You care. When you say the saying, say you care the ass go well, but you can't force him to drink it.
See. Well, me give thanks, you know, and you know, just listening and learning, and me respect the program. I respect the program.
Yeah, man. Cutting edge institution in this, so we can't come here and joke out the thing, you know. We have to do what we have to do. When we get the chance on the mic.
Right now, no one bigger than this. Bigger than this. I wish, you know, like a big TV screen that's, you know, something, you know, but me know we're not going to get this still, you know.
Yeah, man.
I hear someone ask Angie if she's gonna do something like a television, because you know we need visual things. Sometimes, you know, you're telling some people things and they don't do any research. You know, they don't do any research. Sometimes when you have like documentaries, and they can sit down and look and see where the thing is coming from. You know.
Yeah, man.
Because someone is there is trying to mash up human being, you know, and especially we, the sun people of this earth. We are the strongest set of people. We build creation, and yet still they're trying to put us down.
They do everything to eliminate us, but to just keep on replenishing.
Yeah, it's just like they're shooting us like a bird, and sometimes when I look on it, I said, right, look how much time I'm dead already, and kill me. Anytime I see a black man, I see myself, you know.
Yeah, man.
If I want to see themselves that way, they are one people, you know. One, you know. It just hard for me. I've been 37 and I never yet go to handcuff, never go on my hand. I try to be, just treat a man as how I want to be treated.
Right.
You understand? Because we are pass through, you know, man. We're just passing through just for a little time.
Yeah, man. So if we make a light shine and do what we have to do, you know?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I try to tell my brethren them, say, we are the universe, you know, that's express yourself in our human form, you know, just for a little while. Just for a little while.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Anyway, give thanks.
Yeah, man. Rastafari bless. So and keep up your work.
All right.
Bless. Bless.
Yeah. More Bob Marley. Greetings. Cutting edge.
Blessed dog.
Blessed.
Come on.
Walk on.
On Dingo was for a reason there.
Yeah. Which one?
Him. One word. Someone.
Who?
Sir Nelson.
Nelson? Oh, yeah. Mandela?
Yeah.
Mm.
When them say sell-out thing, you know, it's imperfect, right?
Well, a whole heap of people perpetuate that thing that him really did kind of the two integrationalists.
Yes, man. Because I call.
In the state where South Africa is today in terms of racial relations, because not change.
Right. And if I call where Mandela come from, you know, them rugged state there, because him to be in there, so. We never look someone like that just come out so soft, you know. Till when I tell all the people them say we have to share power. That's one of the reasons why man Winnie would not agree, you know.
Yeah.
And the script show that she wasn't agree for sharing a power with them guys there, you know, with them redneck there.
Mm-hmm.
She wanted black people to have all the things, all the say now, cause like it's black people time now.
Yeah, sharing power with the enemies. It just will make you go away. You just go remain in your same state.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's one of the main things, cause the whole eruption now and the whole vibration for we realize I know South Africa are still redneck down the road.
Yeah, man. Because
even people take a notice even during the cricket and thing. See them on the phone.
I don't stay redneck class, you know.
No, but you see, in terms of the cricket and the sport in South Africa, no, them in recent times, no, them revert back to racial quota because them realize that if you don't have racial quota in a sports in South Africa, it just gonna be a case where a pure white people are represent a nation where 90% black, and a lot of people come out against, racial quotas in sports in South Africa because they say people can make a team on merit, but that's not the case in South Africa. Because if you don't do that in South Africa, blacks will never get a chance, no time, no day, based on how South Africa is set up.
Well, we need to change that, because we have the powers, I say if Mandela is still in prison, even for the next 3 months, right now, not even a black, not even a white bird could have fly over South Africa, And the people, them take it to the limit now, But them not care no more.
They know what they're doing because as you heard Mandingo say, a lot of people feel that Mandela was up in a Robben Island prison up to the time when him did get released. But him did come out long before that, and as you heard, he was living in some upscale communities in South Africa while they were sorting out them issues, for integrating back into the society, So that is true. That is true.
So we need to realize that, and people them need to see the things and say the things and don't be afraid to face up to what we have to do, because we have to do it,
Yeah, we can't depend.
And one is not a good force,
we can't depend on America.
Right.
And Republican and Democrat and them thing there.
Right.
Yeah.
We as black African need to work on ancient coach hikes.
We have to wake up now.
Stand up. Not ourselves, know, so right now, what's up? We have all the powers in the earth. We stop what we want.
Yeah,
and come start up things that we have to go for ourselves and for each and every one. Because we're not even no color for this right at this moment, at every time, right now. After us know, say, in every nation and every race, you have a set of people with upward and two inside of creation.
Right.
So we need to balance the things, and we need for us to know, say, watch out, balancing things. And that means we have a push out ourselves, put our things to please other people.
Right.
We need to realize that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I know, so we have to stand up for our thing, and whatever means necessary, whatever it takes, we have to do it, because most that we have to do that. So we have to lead ourselves to the path of upwardness, we have a fullness in each other to know what. You see, this one have a program. This is the program I'm making know that there's a link, because a lot of we are crime. And a lot of we are crime. We do down at the bottom, we leave it down there, so step by step, we move internally upward towards what we are doing. So we find we always conquer. Or if we still wait for more commands to come deal with certain things for us. Use us said we.
Well, we are waiting for Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, man.
We can't do that. I can get up and move up and stand up and live up for right. And that life is essential thing for each and every one of us. So why should we have so much cuss against each other? Because of material wealth,
It's part of the, as me say, it's part of the mongrelization that was perpetuated on our race. Why we're still where we are today. Yes, individually, we have moved on, not a lot of us. Individually, we have gotten rich. We have big mansions and we live good and whatever. But collectively, we are the worst off race, same way.
Yeah, because that is not everything, You have a big mansion and big this and big that and...
Right.
We
don't have a racial empire. The racial empire was destroyed by white supremacy. And it's still active up to this day. You know? So
that one, let them smuggle the maggot around, you know. Yeah, because even at the schools now you find say you them who come with them talent, them just call them in and them doing business if you know where the youth them want to do from where them no want to do. Them just call them in and just put up something on a piece of board and or some books and them no busy what want happen to them when them want to come out to afford that, you know. See, so the youth them have to go straight because you know properly groom them, teach them own personal individual self about. For one to know others, you have to know the personal individual self, you know. And that is one of the main problems right now. People say that they know, but them still don't know.
Knowing itself is one of the hardest things to do.
Preservation of life.
Yeah. Anyway, give thanks.
Yeah, man, bless up.
All right, brother. All right, cutting edge here on IRA FM, you know, still in the home stretch. You know, we'll go until 2 o'clock. It's Thursday, November 17, 2016. Next year, 2017. So it's still first comes, first serve, you know. So give us a call now. I mean, have your say here in the morning, yeah. We know enough people out there at work. Enough people are going to tune into the consciousness. And, we're just there to go and play our part in the enlightenment of our race. Yeah, so we'll continue. IRA FM, yeah, so much things to say for real, you know. And one of the things we want to say is that, boy, this crime thing in Jamaica, it is getting from bad to worse. And, you know, we come and we talk on the media every day and we try to, you know, enlighten people. And why I just don't know. But this is the biggest this is Jamaica's biggest problem right now. This crime thing is true. Yeah, man. You have a group of things that are Jamaica's biggest problem. You know, crime are one, bad mind are one. Yeah, they go hand in hand, you know. But the crime thing, the situation, it get out of hand, and we'll find out. Say, you know, it's like say you have some headless chickens that run around now. And, you know, no little good sense I prevail. So, you find out now that man just, it's like say it's just a trendy thing now for just get up and kill a man in Jamaica. It's like, it's a new trend. You know? And we don't value life. We are such a heartless society right now. You know? Every day we get up and we talk about Haiti people, wicked and this and that. Haiti no wicked like Jamaica. Haiti is not wicked like Jamaica. No time, no way, no day. The only time Haitian people get violent is when election time and, you know, because them revolutionary. And, you know, who for representing them get violent. But something, the other day, we're going along at Chapelton. I mean, oh God, man, the lady, I expect baby. And there's the facilities there to deliver the baby. And the woman turn out the woman and made the woman go have picnic on the roadside beside the hospital. Me hear them try justify this and justify that, and but it just show how heartless this society has become. Heartless, we're cold, bad. You know? And we need some purging, you know. Sometimes when them storm they miss Jamaica. I mean, it's like they want us to gear up proper for we, you know. That me real, that me think, you know. Because we're too wicked on us, man. We're too wicked. Thanks.
Yes, Roger.
Right.
Morning. My name is Renee. I'm calling from Proudly Technologies. I'm a good friend of Muta. I call the show all the time.
All right.
I was just listening to what you were saying a while ago about the violence and the things missing us. You know.
Yeah.
There's something that is wrong with us in our psyche. We don't have a real general respect for one another. It's a very disrespectful culture.
We're cool,
you know,
man.
If you see how people treat each other.
We're cool. Oh, we're rich, man.
it's a matter of respect. Who are you for come tell me? You're not nobody, you understand? But when a white man come, or somebody else from another race
Go and
come,
salute.
right, and that is also a leftover of the plantation mentality that we're coming out of. So we can't look at each other with any kind of eye, and I think what we need to do is implement something that Nigeria has done, which is the youth corps. They have a national youth corps in Nigeria. When you leave school, you have to go through the youth corps for 1 year. It's mandatory. It's not military service. It's a youth corps that educates you on a national way. Because in Nigeria, you don't hear them story about people that chop up them one another, you know. You don't hear people that push out one another out of the hospital. You don't hear people, and, you know, you wouldn't have a business like mine who are struggle and struggle and struggle in a culture that nobody respects you because you say Africa. So it's a psyche that is left over from looking at ourselves in a negative way. When a man come to you and talk to you, you say, who is him? You're not nobody. You know, women have that about ourselves as well. It's a culture of disrespect and blame the victim mentality. A man rape you or something where you would do. Man rob you at that you forget. Somebody chop somebody else up, you hear say something them do, but no one looks at the gravity of that. The psyche of another human being thought it was a good idea to take up a machete and slay someone else.
There was a mongrelization mentality that was perpetuated on us, that it is up within us up to this day. This is one thing we must attack to get out our psyche, the mongrelization of us
and
as
I
a
think
people.
I think it has to be some kind of national program, because you see, some of the dinosaur them, I believe that Jamaica is not going to be better until a generation of people is wiped clean, because you see how them people vote in Donald Trump. The average person who voted in Donald Trump was alive during the Jim Crow eras. So these people, there's a psyche that exists amongst us that the older generations possess and are tainting the younger generation, that are telling the younger generation, no make nobody do you this, building them up against each other in a certain kind of way that is not conducive to modern time and modern thinking. We're clashing psychologically, socioeconomically, on so many levels. We're going in a downward spiral, and we don't even know it. I tried putting together an event to educate people about trading into China. China has 70% of the drinking water is polluted. They have to import 90% of the drinking water. We come from the land of wood and water, and I can't get any support for my business. So I said, well, you know what, let me put an event together. Reached out to sponsors. Air Canada was a sponsor. And I'm going on my way. Everything is going well. You know what happened? They murdered Canadian tourists, and that was that.
That was it.
That was it. That was it. So, immediately after the warning was issued, the very next day I can show anybody the email. Air Canada said no. Air Canada wrote me specifically and told me what was wrong. So, me no want nobody feel like that crime has no impact on us. That they feel like a man get chopped up over there, so it have nothing to do with we. A man get chopped up over there, so it have everything to do with we.
It is our biggest problem right now, and part of the thing is that there's no political will to deal with it.
I wouldn't even say political will.
That's part of it.
I think a part of it is it's because of the political garrisonness and the political Because we don't. What do we produce in Jamaica where a man can actually make a gun? Do we have those kind of factories? Do we have those kind of bullets?
When I say no political will, I just mean that the two major political parties they thrive on the other can't keep it down. Them thrive on that.
Correct.
There is nobody willing to come and sit down and say, let us deal with this from a non-political point of view. Let us form a committee.
This is true, but you see, they're doing things in a siloed way how the Europeans tell them how to do it.
Right.
They're doing things in a way how others who come into Jamaica, and give them a blueprint and say, well, this works in Brixton and London, so this can work here.
We're taking the blueprint from the wrong places.
Taking the blueprint from the wrong places,
right.
Because guess what? You see, this crime that broke out in Montego Bay and why it can't be contained. When I looked at, I'm not a political scientist or a criminologist or anything, but when you look at the landscape of Montego Bay is like this. You have these really nice neighborhoods adjacent to these really poor neighborhoods. So you don't have any kind of containment. It's not like town where you can say, well, that'll go on down there, so, and that can stay down there and you can carton off Tivoli and Beverly Hills is secured. No, that's not how it is. So the man them can move from hill to hill, yard to yard in a very fluid way, because there's no real containment. Right. The structural positioning of Montego Bay.
The terrain.
Right. Thank you. The terrain and the environment. Because remember, our ancestors fled to the cockpit country and defeated the Europeans.
Yes.
No, the terrain was 90% of the success. So if we can't look at how those things contributes to the growth and the stealthiness of the criminals, then you're missing the mark. So you can't take Brixton, that is a couple of buildings strewn together, and say, well, yes, this is how it worked with stamped out crime, and carry that and try to give it to Montego Bay and say, yes, Montego Bay, so the Brixton model, you do it, and you try to carton off here. The man them just run go around a bog. You try carton off them, run go around there, so you try carton them, run go around there, so and them have the hills and the access and the knowledge to get around. So it's very difficult to actually contain the violence, and so it just keep going and going and going and going and going, and that is from just my little civilian observation.
Yes.
Now, the people who are in charge, even if a man have that observation, them have no way of saying, okay, we have the things in place that this is going to work, or even if you have an idea, it doesn't fit in with the Scotland Yard model or the this model or the that model or how they're going to approach it. And then when you go to your boss and badmine you because you come up with this idea that you're going to contain it here, and then so it's a self-repeating cannibalistic cycle. We are in the position of we're in.
Mongrelized race, man. As I say, man.
But we have, what? It can't stay so. Because we have to recognize, too, where culturally we are implicit. Because when you have an environment that says, come to Jamaica and enjoy the beaches behind the walls of an all-inclusive that you don't have to encounter with these vagabonds, these mongrels, these wildlife creatures, come and enjoy Jamaica and leave Jamaica, so you don't have to deal with it. So what you have there is a psyche now of the people who have not been influenced by anyone else. Now, when you go to a St. Lucia, you go to other places where everything is not about the all-inclusive, you do have an intermingling of people who come, and that intermingling helps to take out some of these negative ideas, these ancient kind of ritualistic and tribalistic mentality. If you walk in the streets of Montego Bay, you can't count white people. There aren't any to count. You understand? And it's the tourist capital of our country. So what does that say about us? That says that our government already says that we are too violent and too credit to intermingle with foreign people, or no one else is going to come. But what they need to do is start looking at different models of how they can get people to actually come out and intermingle with other people, because we're an island, which means we don't have anybody driving from anywhere to come and bring new ideas to us. Any idea that come here have to take a plane and come here, or a ship or something. So we have to find a way to interact with others that is going to change our psyche to say, okay, this is how things are done, and this is how things should be done, and this is how I've seen it done because I have this relationship, or I've seen it done in this way. So, well, there's a lot to the input, then you have starting from the cradle coming right up, people feeling disenfranchised, like they're not good enough. We're a very exclusive culture. We're designed to be exclusive, and we still believe and hold on to a lot of the dogmatic ideas that are out there. No, this is not to say that there isn't crime other places. Bahamas is a thriving, booming, fantastic place with tourism, but 1 and 2 times a year, look a man pop off. And these are the same kind of the ideas that are there, and it's only down in the uneducated lower classes, because again, they don't have access to exposure to things to say, well, my life is more than this, or me not kill nobody and go to jail, go sit down. So there is a lot that can be done that isn't being done. We think that what we're going to do is shoot our way out of it. We're going to take our guns and go down to the bad man neighborhood, and we're going to shoot him, and we're going to win. And that's how we're going it. Yeah. And this is not how the West should be won. They need to do is take the money, whatever they're getting from the IMF or wherever, put it into some youth programs that gives the kids other things to do. The devil finds work for idle hands.
You need proper social intervention programs that is, that is conducive to our society.
This is true. Yeah. And when we say social intervention, it cannot be that, a competition where if this man do this, him get that, and if him not do this, him, he goes home and does what, because at this point in time, even for working people, it's attractive to go and do illicit things. Yeah, it's attractive because our society is very exclusive. You have your subjects, you have the degree, you have everything you need, and you can't find work.
Yeah.
So one of the reasons why I really wanted to call this evening is because I have a website that Muta has helped me to get investors and get people to work along with me to move it forward, and it is down. It's proudly proudly.com, and it is down at the moment. The hosting needs to be paid, but I have at least 4 different contracts that I'm working on at the moment, but I have not been able to get institutional lending. I haven't been able to get a lot of support for it because Jamaica has very old and ancient banking practices. So even if you have an investor, we still don't have, it's not popular to buy equity out of a business and raise the capital. So we're operating in a very ancient, old-time way of doing things here, and it's costing me a tremendous amount. So I wanted to tell the users or the supporters of Proudly that there's a backup site at Source Genie, SourceGinni.com, and there is a page that says Hire Us. People can also donate there to get the site Proudly itself back up and running. We're doing extremely well. We have 2 contracts at the moment. that we're working on, and once those things come to fruition, we get some cash flow going positive again. But that's one of the reasons why I called, because it is down, and I know a lot of people go to the site on a daily basis to upload things, share things, and communicate with me. But so far it has been a very uphill struggle with the investing side of things, but not on the doing business side of things in Jamaica. So that's one of the reasons why I called tonight. But we have to just keep plugging forward, you know. We have to keep moving forward as a culture, as a people, and know who we are and respect ourselves.
All right.
You know. All right.
Yeah, man.
So
Give thanks, man. Well said.
all right. Very good, Roger.
All
Good
right,
night.
Take care.
Okay, bye-bye.
We'll talk again.
Yes, for sure.
All right,
Cool.
bless,
Bye-bye.
yeah? Greetings. Hello.
Yes, good evening, Roger. How are you?
All right. What's going on?
Oh, not much, man. I usually just calling, to just kind of talk about some, I usually go over some religious stuff, what the young lady was like saying earlier, and I like to put like a few words in on that. I really don't know extensively or exactly what exactly things is about today, but just I try my very best to keep up with the news.
You're lying in and out, though, you know. I don't know. You're lying in and out. You move or something?
Well, let me get my earphone.
Yeah, you're lying kind of in and out. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, you still know?
Let me just go and try to talk to you while I'm
Yeah.
getting earplugs.
Why, you stationary?
Well, I'm sorry, what man?
You stationary? Or are you moving?
No, I'm actually stationary now.
All right, yeah, go on. All right, go on talk now, because, you know.
Yeah, so, as I said to you, if you look, from what I'm observing, all I'm seeing that's getting killed in Jamaica is black people. And there's there's not only black people alone in Jamaica. There's Asians, there's white, there is Spanish people, but pay attention to it. It's mostly black people getting killed in Jamaica. That should raise a flag. That should make y'all want to know why. To me, what I see this is that, as the young lady says, you got nice houses connected to ghetto housing, and people of certain classes don't want certain classes around them. It's also here in America, and I've seen it. And they are cutting down our people all around the world. This is happening in Africa, America, Brazil, Jamaica, because we are too much black people on the planet, and these people are cutting down. It might sound far-fetched to you or to some other people, but I think you should pay attention to that. And also, Jamaica is a prime real estate. Hey, we get rid of some of these ghetto people, we can bring more people over here, and we can make Jamaica be white. White panelists, so we got more white people from Canada, Europe, and everybody come here and spend their money. We can get rich off of this and get rid of the poor blacks and stuff like that. The reason they can do this to you because a lot of you blacks are not paying attention. You're not seeing what's going on. We're still in the same. We have not even moved that much from slavery. I think y'all should spend some time studying Dr. Claude Anderson. He talks a lot about that, about what level of we have moved from slavery. We, as black people, you see that these people study us. These people know our ways. why do white people always want to be among black people and every other culture? These people are culture vultures. They're always around somebody else except for their own people. They spend more time in our culture. But the thing is, they're over there examining us. So I learned to examine us like how they examine us. And I'm telling y'all, the thing is, you got some Jamaicans who are very angry and bitter and selfish and hateful and love to show off. And here's what happens. So the best thing I can do, put some guns in the middle of that and let them kill each other off. These police officers must be out of their damn mind. They don't need to realize that, oh, let me go kill the boy. The boy, don't do that, chop a boy. And you don't understand that. Look here. It doesn't matter if the gangsters kill the cops or the cops kill the gangsters. You're still working for them, you idiots. You're killing black people, and that's what they want. Y'all better start getting real smart real quick. Instead of you all, as the young lady says, there's no manufacturer that put guns in. So that my question is, who put guns in Jamaica? They give y'all guns to kill each other off. I think he said, Pope fed up them, give us guns to make them pick the boss or something like that, he said. Some of these regular artists, they're actually saying some good stuff here, if you pay attention to what they're saying. They want us to kill each other off. And they are counted on our ignorance. And trust me, there's a lot of ignorant and arrogant people in Jamaica. And that's just the truth. So, y'all better get very, very smart. Here's what happened. I'm going to tell y'all something. Y'all probably get mad at me. I don't really give a damn. I'm here in America. Yeah, there came people in America, but the things I know to survive in these streets in America. Because then you know what? You know who they go after? The ignorant ones. The stupid ones after the who they go after. Not the intelligent ones. It might not agree with me. You might be angry. Oh, well. But I'm trying my very best to tell y'all some stuff so y'all can look at these things and help yourselves. Because I don't have to do it. I can save my phone. My family's all right. I'm trying to help you and your family. So if you want to hate on me, hey, that's all on you.
Yeah, man. All right, sir.
I'm trying my very best to help you.
Yeah, man. All right, give thanks still, Point well taken.
Yeah, boss, man.
All right. Bless up.
Yeah.
All right, closing out the cutting edge tonight, Yeah, man. Good being here with you. I think it's Matrix coming up next. So, I hit that for the night in terms of calls, Give thanks for all of the calls and so on. So, closing off with some